My guest Erika had a moment of realization that changed her life. She realized that her negative thoughts were creating her reality. What would happen if she changed her mindset to have more positive thoughts and didn't let the negative thoughts control her? In this episode, we talk about the power of meditation, affirmations, and gratitude to change your mindset and change your life. I'm your host, Dashankar, and you're listening to That Was the Moment I Embraced Positive Thinking and Changed My Life. My guest today is Erika Plepyte. Erika started her career in social media as a freelancer. 2 years later, she has her own marketing company, Davy Marketing. Davy Marketing doesn't just focus on what is trending, they focus on their clients' needs and how they want to be heard and seen on social media. Thank you so much for being here today, Erika.
Thank you so much for having me, Dashankar.
Do you want to tell me what life was like before your moment?
I actually have thought a lot about it, and I think it goes back to when I was little. I was one of those, maybe let's say, weird kids who enjoyed going to school, who loved every single event they had. And I just got those moments where, as every child, I used to get colds. And then it happened like I'm waiting so much. There was a dance, let's say, at school or some kind of event, a day that I was waiting so much. And then there was like, oh my God, I must not get sick. I think maybe it even happened once in my life that I got sick and I missed the event. So then it kind of haunted me ever since. And every single time the events were about to happen, I was panicking week before. What if I get sick? I cannot get sick, a cold, flu, and it was always on my mind. So I think later on that developed into more scenarios, what if kind of grew. So that perhaps anxiety living inside, like when something is good about to happen, what if, it goes wrong? I won't be able to go, participate, things like that.
That started when you were quite young. And how long did this go on for?
I think it went up to perhaps uni time. So let's say the whole year of high school. But then it didn't happen as much. Then I don't know how, but I kind of let go of that fear. But later on, we had family members being sick, and then I got the same thing again. What if it will happen to me? And it started haunting me, I think, after 4 or 5 years of kind of gap. But I guess I remember when I was in uni, I never had these kind of thoughts, what if I will get sick, like I had in school. But after a family member was sick, I think the problem was I imagined it too much. Like I can feel for the other person. So it kind of happened as me being able to understand how the person feel, like how he could have felt, the symptoms, let's say, from that point of view, how painful it was. Even when I was little, I never could watch when someone taking blood sample. Let's say when I was little, my mom used to go, for regular checkups, and I couldn't see blood. I just passed out. So I think the problem for me was feeling what the person could be feeling or is feeling. And then it was a shock for everyone. And I think I kind of took it too much. And I started feeling for my family member how it has been for him. And until the moment when I think because of these negative thoughts following me for a few years, I actually got sick myself with quite a serious illness. And I think that was the moment when I realized these were the thoughts that were kind of haunting me, the thoughts that have been in my head for like a good few years. And now it's kind of reality. So the feeling was cold, like the moment I realized it, I think my body got cold, like I felt cold inside. The moment of realization that kind of what I have done in those 2 years, that now I'm in this situation, something that I have feared for so many years.
That's really interesting. And so when your uncle was sick, were you feeling his symptoms as well?
No. Unfortunately, it happened that he passed away, and that hit me, and also the way he passed away hit me. And I always imagine what he has thought, how shocking it must have been for him. And then until I found similar symptoms, and it hit me that if I don't stop now, if I don't take control of my my thoughts, my everything, basically my mind, it can become even worse. So I think that hit me. That really hit me hard, I think.
Oh, wow. Did you feel a bit like of a weight lifted off you when you had this realization?
That's a good question. When I look back, perhaps it felt a little like it felt like my fears have come true, if it makes sense. So I think that kind of fear that was on my shoulders disappeared, so it made it feel easier. But when you think about it logically, it couldn't have been easier. It just, the way the fear and the realization acted as, you don't have to fear it anymore, it's happening, kind of. So that was shocking as well. No?
Yeah, but I guess also having that realization that you're in control, did that give you like a sense of power because you're no longer a kind of victim to whatever illness?
Yeah, I think at that moment, many things happened. And I think one moment of realizing what's happening led to another, and then led to another. So the second realization, I think, within those, let's say, 2 weeks, hit me that I am just a number. I mean, I read it in books, I read it on social media, I read it in newspapers, the life of business owners compared to corporate, what's good, what's bad, the difference. And I read those things. But it's one thing when you read it. The second thing is it's completely different even feeling when you feel it. Like, I feel I'm a number. I feel how easy it is for them to, replace me, to discontinue my contract. And that was, I think, equally painful as well, when you're kind of left with what's my next step. And then the third realization comes into place when you think, okay, with the first bad news, it happened that with my thoughts, I managed to make my fears come true. With the second one, I realized that what the books were writing about businesses versus the corporate ones was true. And the third one was, if this is what is happening, if I am just a number, and if I can, unfortunately make my bad thoughts come true, what if I shift that and change that and think positive, think different things, control what I think, control those negative thoughts, approach them differently, don't let them sit in my head for too long. And then at the same time, if I'm just a number there and I don't matter, how can I make it matter? How can I make it different? How can I, work from anywhere? How can, like, these things kind of also turned into positive, into motivation, into drive, into even new habits, which I think something extremely important I didn't take into consideration and also into account before was meditation. Many people are very skeptical about it. And when you say meditation or that you meditate, they're like, oh, this is nonsense. What does it do? Yeah, they can say that. But when you try it, of course, from the first time, it might not even work. Some people get scared, but the more you practice, the more you feel the difference. And I think that realization has brought so many good habits, even eating habits, sleeping habits. Oh God, since then I'm strictly sleeping minimum 7 hours, 7 to 8 hours, because now that became my priority instead of working at the corporate and sleeping 6 hours, sometimes less. And that led into, I think, even better and more beautiful things.
That's amazing. I love how what seems like just a simple moment of realization has changed your whole life.
Yeah.
If we just go back to the meditation, I think people have a preconceived idea about what meditation is. Like you've got to wear a big white robe, you've got to burn stuff, you've got to sit in one really uncomfortable pose for an hour, and it's not. What styles of meditation do you do? Or what did you start with?
My journey to meditation was starting with simple meditation, relaxation music. So I used to set a timer, and then I just simply close my eyes, lay in the bed, and then I just listen and try to listen carefully to the sounds. Then I kind of felt like, oh, there is guided meditation. I should try that. It took me some time to find the one that I enjoyed. I realized how important it is also the voice that you're listening. And I've tried guided meditation, but after the guided meditation, I started also reading some books that were about relaxation, reducing stress. They also had some tips for meditation to kind of reached deeper level, there was this exercise where you take a few deep breaths and then you kind of start like clear your mind, focus on your breath, your mind will clear, and then you focus on every single part of your body. So I like to start with my head, the top of my head, and then I slowly go down. And I think the exercise was feel how every single part, like I feel like how it gets warmer, my head, my eyebrows, my nose, and then it goes down to the feet. And I implemented that with the relaxing music, and I started focusing so much on my body that I could feel the warmth in my body. And I think that was my perhaps favorite type of meditation that I was doing with myself, with my own body, with my own mind.
By doing that meditation and focusing on each part of your body, did you find you were getting a deeper connection to your body?
Yeah, I was the first time I read that. I don't remember how was the book called, but the first time I read how much you can focus to your own breath, how your chest lifts up when you breathe, and then when I implemented this with feeling the warmth feeling in my body, that was, I think, another moment of realization how much control I have of everything, how like to feel even when I say that my toes, let's say, are warmth is filling my toes, I can feel the warmth. So I realize how much control I have, my mind has over my body, and it encouraged me even more to take care of my thoughts.
Yeah, that's really cool. And so what sort of things did you do? So you've had quite a lot of realizations that you control your mind, you control your thoughts. What sort of things did you do to get rid of those bad thoughts?
To be fair, I don't think that you can ever fully get rid of them. It's something that it constantly comes back, and I think it's also at the same time a test for you every single time to stay grounds with knowing about your negative thoughts. And for me, what I try to do is I try to approach them. Where are they coming from? And then I give reasons why this is wrong. For example, if again I'm feeling that I'm scared that what if I get a cold again? The most simple example. So I start thinking my immune system is healthy. I'm taking vitamins. I'm drinking enough water. I'm eating good food. I'm sleeping enough. Like I have like five things right now that are happening that are good in my life and that are helping me to keep my immune system strong. Why would that be the case? And then that negative thought disappears, or you simply, whenever it pops in your mind, you say that it's not true, the reality is different. So I think the more practice you put in place, the less fight, not exactly fight, but the less reasons you need to give, because you know where it's coming from.
When you start to change your thoughts and create new positive thoughts, what's happening in your brain is you're actually creating new neural pathways. Neuroscience has shown us our brains do change, our brains can change, and we have the power to change them. I tell some of my coaching clients that if you imagine a forest and there's this pathway with all the grass is dead because you just keep walking over this one path, right? And that's a negative thought that you just always had. I'm not good enough. And you've said it so many times that all the grass has died. And then once you start saying a new thought, you no longer walk down that path. Your new thought is, I am worthy of love. You create this new path. But the bushes and the trees and everything's quite, it's hard at first because you've got to stomp through and make a new path. But eventually what happens is that pathway becomes clear and it becomes so much easier because you've been practicing the I am worthy, I am worthy, I am worthy. And then what's also happening on the other side is the I am not worthy. Because you're not walking it anymore, the grass starts growing back. So you're literally replacing neural pathways in your brain. And that's how powerful our brains are.
Yeah, I think this is a brilliant example of the pathway, and also to help us understand how the negative thoughts, if we keep going the same way, how it looks like, and then we turn it into a positive thing, that place can heal. And I think that's a very beautiful way to explain it.
And what other techniques did you do? Did you use affirmations at all?
Oh, yes, I have. I'm writing now my second book. I've tried different affirmations. One of them was simply writing every single morning 3 things I'm grateful for, 3 things I desire today, and then 3 things I can do today to achieve success. Then I started writing like 5 affirmations, and then I included wins to write in the evening, what I have successfully achieved that day. However, I realized after some time it becomes a task you get bored. It's something you do every single day, and they lose meaning. The things you desire, the things you want to do to, achieve success, you have to do to achieve success. And you start writing the same thing all over again. And it was just something, very easy to write. And then I changed it to every morning writing 10 gratitude things that I'm grateful for. And they have to be different. And I try to relate it to everything that has happened. If I'm writing it in the middle of the day, depending how I feel. And when you read it, it helps you to realize how many good things are in your life.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you journal as well?
Yes, I've actually journaled most of my life, but in the last couple of years, I've been journaling a lot more. And journaling for me is a really nice way for me to get the thoughts out of my head and put them somewhere else. Sometimes if I'm having thoughts, worries, or anything like that, if I put them down on paper, I feel like I can get rid of them from my head.
Oh, so you transfer them from your mind to paper.
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
That's...
And as a way to not let them just keep stewing in my mind. For a short period, I used to have a worry journal. In the worry journal, you, before bed, would write what you're worried about. If something had been playing on your mind, you write it down on your piece of paper or your book or whatever. And then when you go to sleep that night, you're essentially telling your subconscious, these are my worries. And what I used to find is when I woke up in the morning, I felt like I had solutions or a different perspective, because I think my subconscious, while I was sleeping, was working on trying to help me with those worries. Yeah, finding solutions. And these new thoughts would come into my brain. And I truly believe it's because I got them out of my head. And I was able to, by getting them out of my head before bed, I was able to rest. And we need rest. Rest is so important. People undervalue rest and sleep.
Yeah.
And, you've already said that, once you started sleeping more, you were feeling so much better. But yeah, and I think that worry journal was an amazing way to just put my worries aside while I rested.
Yeah, I think another challenge that comes with it, especially in the beginning, when you start acknowledging negative thoughts, and then when you move to try to change them with positive ones, is to actually accepting from yourself that what you're saying, the positive thing, is true. Otherwise, it's very often too difficult to change that negative thought into positive one because you don't accept it from yourself, if it makes sense.
Yeah.
Did it ever happen to you?
Definitely. What I have found is that unless you deal with the negative thoughts, you can't just say, oh, that's a negative thought, I'm never going to think it again.
Yeah.
That negative thought is there for a reason. And why is it there? Why does it keep coming up? Where is it coming from? And why do I think that? I used to have this ongoing negative thought of, I would call myself lazy, and I would just constantly say, I'm so lazy, I'm so lazy, I'm so lazy. And when I told some of my friends, oh yeah, I'm really lazy, they were just shocked. They would say, lazy is not a word I would ever associate with you, because I'm always doing things active. And so when I really drilled down into where does that lazy come from, it came from an experience in my childhood. And when I was able to look into that and say, oh, it is so untrue. And as you were saying before, here are the reasons why I am not lazy. The I'm lazy still comes up, and now I go, no, I'm not lazy, I'm just relaxing. I just don't go down the path of laziness and affirming that I am lazy. I say, no, I'm not being lazy, I am relaxing, I'm resting. And while I was trying to relax, this constant I'm lazy, I'm lazy, I'm lazy would be playing. So I wasn't relaxing.
Yeah.
I was having this fight with myself. And so now if that scenario comes up, I say, no, I'm resting and I deserve to rest. My body deserves to rest. My mind deserves to rest. Tell me, how has your life changed since the moment?
There was this quote, if you don't have time to take care of yourself right now, you will have to make time for the illness, later on. I think that was the biggest lesson for me. What happens when I forget myself? And ever since then, I started prioritizing things differently, my own well-being, and not letting, work, others, have such a huge impact on me. And I think that has been, I'm grateful for everything, because if it didn't happen at the end of the day, I don't think I would be taking care of myself the way I am now. So I still would be stressed, not sleeping enough, not eating nutritious food. I didn't exercise at the time at all, whatsoever, nothing. Now I'm exercising 4 to 5 times a week, and I'm very proud of it. And I've been doing that now for 3 years without gaps. And I'm very happy, because when I look back, I didn't do that at all, nothing. And I think that's a huge step ahead forward.
It's amazing what knock-on effects you've had just by changing your mindset. It seems like your whole life has changed. The way you look after yourself has changed. Your career has changed. And have you seen changes in other areas of your life? So like relationships with friends and family and...
I think at the time I was living abroad in another country, but also these experiences helped me to see who is there to support me, help me, and be there for me. So it has made stronger relationship, especially with my family. And I moved back to my home country, even though I'm still working in the UK, but my job gives me this, let's say, luxury of, working remotely from anywhere I want. And now that I can see more my friends, be part of their huge achievements and celebrations of their life, weddings and birthday parties, meetings, just, simple coffee chats. I think it had a positive also impact. But at the same time, when you identify these negative emotions and negative thoughts, you become also more picky with people around you. So not only you connect deeper with the right people, but also you learn how to see who is good for you, for your mental health. And I think we all have those people who are dragging us down, and you learn how to identify after meeting with certain people how you feel. Are you feel down, or you feel uplifted, or you feel happy? And you kind of start avoiding those people who constantly talk about negative things, because these things get into your mind as well. And I think it's important to acknowledge that, as there is a saying, tell me who your friends are, I will tell you who you are. You kind of share the same values then. The negativity, spreads as well.
Yes, definitely, definitely. And it sounds to me that you have discovered like a new level of self-love. And because you have this new level of self-love, you've got better boundaries, you've got friendships that make you feel good, and avoid the friendships that bring you down. You're eating healthier, you're exercising more, you're showing your mind and your body how much you love it.
Yeah, for sure. And before, sometimes I felt, I shouldn't get this, I shouldn't buy this, I shouldn't go there. But now it became like, my body deserves breaks. I like to go on spa weekends for my birthday, especially. And I feel it, I treat it as, it's, the more good you do for yourself, the happier you will be, and the more, you can see it in people's faces. They simply, they light up when they are happy, when they are feeling good and beautiful also about themselves. And I think everyone can say that from your face.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. And the energy you put out to the world, you're lighter. Your energy is
Yeah,
lighter. And as you were saying, you then start attracting people that have the same kind of energy as you, because they can see that it becomes more attractive.
yeah,
Because,
yeah, for
no one
sure.
wants to be around that person that's constantly complaining.
Oh yeah, that can be difficult.
What advice would you give to someone that may be listening that might resonate with some of the stuff you've said? So maybe they're having repetitive negative thoughts, or those fears about, oh, I'm going to get sick, so I'm going to miss out on this, or might be feeling how you felt.
If you have a negative thought that's been haunting you, same as it was me, take a piece of paper and then divide it into half. And then on one side, write the negative thought that is on your mind. And then on the other side, write the opposite, like the good things. So let's say if you're struggling with loving yourself, like loving your appearance, for example, let's say the other one is, I don't like the way I look. And it's the negative thought that keeps haunting you. There are things that you like about yourself, and I'm sure you will find good things about it. And then you can say, perhaps I like my eye color, or I have beautiful long hair. And then the list goes on. The more reasons you give that thing is not true, the better. And whenever you have that thought coming back to you, take the same piece of paper and look at it. And then ask yourself, is this true? I like my eye color. Is this true? Yes. Do I have beautiful hair? Yes. Or do I have long hair? Again, depending on the problem, but find reasons, good reasons, instead of the negative thought, to kind of prove the negative thought that this is not true, and revisit it when you need it.
That's amazing. Yeah, that's a really good exercise. And I think that's something that everyone can do. So thank you for sharing that.
Okay.
Is there anything else you wanted to share today?
I think this journey of the moment, when you realize, also when I was little, I didn't like my appearance. But I think that was also part of, teenage life, because then everyone is looking at each other and then, oh, I don't have this, but they have that. So I wanted blue eyes, but I have green eyes. But I think I had a moment where I became happy and also learned how to love. Okay, this is me. This is my body. Okay, I don't have blue eyes. Okay, I don't have long hair, but still, when I take care of myself, I look beautiful. So I learned that to make me feel beautiful, I need to take care of myself, my appearance. So looking for better clothing, let's say clothing that fits me better, taking care of my hair, putting on makeup, let's say. And I think the moment you realize, then you have to choose whether you continue or you change something. And usually when you pick the change, and when you realize if that negative thought had this impact, what a good thought can make, what kind of impact it can have. And then it kind of gives you a huge boost of motivation to do something. So you can kind of start running and doing it now.
I love that. If
Yes.
you could be remembered by one word, what word would it be?
Brave.
I like it. And why?
Because whatever life gives me, I always stand up. I'm not scared anymore of anything, as I was before.
That's amazing. Thank you so much for sharing your story with me.
Thank you so much for having me, Dushanka, and I truly hope that my story inspired someone also to be brave and take the step to improve their life.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for listening. I hope today's conversation inspires and empowers you to know that no matter your current situation, your life can change too. All it takes is a moment. And if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and share it with a friend. If you would like to share your own moment, see the link in the show notes. Until next time, be present in each moment, because you never know when your moment will arrive, or when you have the gift of being a moment for someone else. Take care.